What's going on? Welcome back to ASAP Finance. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Episode 15. What are we here to talk about?
We're talking about Ethereum. Simple, complicated, just a general overview. Want to teach you guys a little bit about it.
Yeah, pretty much just the basics. Keep it simple. There's a lot to understand, and we're about to hop right into it. So thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoy what we're about to talk about.
All right, so you guys have probably heard of Ethereum, second largest crypto. When it was founded, Vitalik Buterin, right? Programmer.
How old is this guy? I think we talked about it in our crypto episode,
I think we might have. So this guy, right? He's a programmer. In 2011, he's only 17. He co-founds Bitcoin Magazine, which becomes one of the biggest crypto magazines at the time. 2 years later, he's like, I'm gonna start my own crypto. He writes the white paper for Ethereum at 19 years old. Okay, 19 years old. That's so crazy.
He's younger than us right now.
Mm-hmm. And he's already. I mean, it's just wild. And then, so a year after that, 2014, he's got a developer team, Gavin Wood, a few other people, and they're crowdfunding, right? And they raised $18 million. And the next year, they launched it's called Frontier, which is like the first initial network of Ethereum. So it's live in 2015. This is 6 years after Bitcoin in 2009.
And it's kind of crazy too, because you think $18 million, that's a lot of money, but it was even more back then because it was 2014 and the 2017 bull market didn't happen for crypto, and Bitcoin was just around for a few years, so it wasn't as big as it is now. Some people are raising $3-digit million for projects now, but it was just crazy that they were raising that much in such an early time.
Yeah, and it was really early. Some people think that Ethereum was the second crypto, right? But it was 15th.
Ripple.
There were way anywhere. They're Ripple, Doge, Monero, Stellar. A lot of ones that are still around today founded it right after Bitcoin, which is obviously the first. But it's just wild how big it grew and how quickly it did. But originally he created it. He wanted a platform that was able to execute smart contracts, which we're gonna do later in this episode, and with its own currency, right? Because Bitcoin was only designed as a store of value. He wanted Ethereum to be something more than that.
Right. And he basically just saw Bitcoin and was like, okay, Bitcoin is amazing and it's this awesome project, but he was like, I can do something better. And not a direct competitor with Bitcoin, but it was more let me make something else that's going to help the same system with blockchain technology.
That was another thing that was so crazy. He was 17 years old and he recognized the potential of not only crypto but Bitcoin. He was like, wow, this is amazing. I need to just go all in on this.
Yeah.
And one of the people on the developer team with him was actually Charles Hoskinson, which you guys might know. He's
I don't.
He's the founder of Cardano.
Okay.
And he was.
Love Cardano, right?
No, he was one of the original founders of Cardano, of Ethereum. And in 2016, the ETH they got hacked for $50 million. And that was when they split into Ethereum and Ethereum Classic.
Wait, so this Hopkins guy, he left Ethereum, right? He completely ditched the project to join or to make Cardano.
I think it's a pretty complicated story. He had some pretty big disagreements with Vitalik, and now I have my own opinions about Cardano, but
we'll see what happens.
I feel like Vitalik's doing better than he is.
I would say so. But yeah, okay. Basically, Ethereum, or most blockchains, they have layer 1 and layer 2. Layer 1 is basically just the base network, right? It's just simple transactions. It's basic security. What are the three things of a blockchain again? It's security, scalability, and composability. There's a bunch.
Something like that.
But it's basically just a storage layer. And they have these, it's basically they just run hash functions, and everything is super slow, and it's just a very simple way of running blockchain technology. And they don't want to keep just layer 1. They want to advance to other layer 2s. And what are the benefits of those?
Well, the thing is, with Ethereum, because it's so secure and so decentralized, that's why they had to sacrifice their transaction speeds, which are only 15 to 30 transactions per second, which is really slow, obviously. And that's why the layer 2 is so important, because it can allow them to uncongest the layer 1 and do quicker transactions on layer 2, whereas Solana or other layer 1 blockchains, they're not as secure or as decentralized, but they have crazy high transaction volumes.
Yeah, and I've noticed between when you're comparing them, it's always a trade-off. You can never find one protocol that has the same everything is perfect. There's always okay, it's super fast, but it doesn't have the security. And then some places have a lot of security and they aren't super fast like Ethereum.
Not yet.
Not yet. Who knows what might happen in the fall of 2022.
But yeah, so the problem with the layer 1 on Ethereum is it can't process transactions fast enough to be able to scale, which is where layer 2 comes in. And layer 2 is a scaling solution for layer 1. And essentially it's another layer that runs on top of the base layer. And it still has the security and the decentralization of the Ethereum's layer 1, but it processes the transactions off of the mainnet. So it doesn't congest the layer 1, but it's still all through the same blockchain, which essentially just allows it to be even speedier, which is why it's so beneficial to Ethereum, which is still super secure.
Okay, when I first heard like layer 1s and layer 2 and blockchain technology, I was so confused because I was like, okay, it's two different things. But what like really helped me like picture it was like, if you just picture like I don't know, what is the family tree, like, okay. Or like what is the name of that pyramid? It's like, what's the name of the
food chain?
Yeah, no, not the food chain. What's the name of like the picture of that? I forget what it's called.
I have no idea.
A tree. Oh, it's a tree diagram. That's the name of it. It's a tree diagram. If you picture like a tree diagram, and layer 1 is basically like just layer 1 is the top, and then layer 2 you go down and there's a bunch of tree diagrams below it, and they all come up. And when you get to layer 1, it basically summarizes everything below. So that's just a good way that I thought of it, and it really helps you like clear like, okay, there's all this like information, there's all these transactions down low, and it's all just simplifying it up to the top tree. That's just the way I pictured it, and I thought it was really useful. So
I like that.
Hopefully someone else finds useful in a tree diagram.
Not a food chain. Definitely wasn't on the right track.
Yeah, food chain is like everywhere.
But I mean, layer 2s, they're pretty complicated. It's pretty like sophisticated technology. I don't even try to understand the complicated parts, but the two popular ones, at least at the moment, are Optimism and ZK rollups, which are both a type of rollup. And rollups, they execute the transactions outside of the mainnet and then they send the data back. And Ethereum, when it was founded and in the roadmap, Vitalik calls Ethereum rollup centric, which means they want to have it. They want to have layer 2 running on rollups to allow it to scale. And I mean, you see that now. Like a few days ago, Optimism airdropped a token to all the people that have been using Optimism, which is a optimistic rollup. And I mean, there's Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, Starkware. They're sprouting up everywhere, and it's just helping. You see like on Optimism, the transaction speeds are insane compared to the base layer.
And you're wondering like what is the point like in having scalability? Like, well, you think like all the other use cases that we can use blockchain technology for, like NFTs and like smart contracts, which we're about to get into. Like, if there's lower fees and it's more like scalable, then this is the prime reason why like it's gonna take over. Like, obviously right now everything's super slow, and people like why would I buy Bitcoin and it's gonna take like 10 minutes for you to verify the transaction. But this is like a solution to that. Obviously things like they progress. You like introduce this new technology like Bitcoin. It's not perfect at the start, or then you might create another one like Ethereum, and soon we're going to scale up, and the lower the fees and the faster transactions, the more people can buy NFTs for a bunch of use cases and smart contracts.
Yeah, and you kind of watched that unfold the past like 4 or 5 years. I mean, in 2017 this wasn't really an issue because Ethereum was still pretty young and there weren't that many users on it. But in the past 2 years, when things like NFTs exploded, it just became so congested that we really needed the layer 2.
Yeah, but I'm glad to witness it myself. I'm glad I got into it before seeing all the changes take place. But what are smart contracts?
Good question.
Okay, they're basically like, think of a contract and just put it on a computer, which is programmable. And it basically, when you put it into the program, you don't need like, obviously you might need a coder to program it, but it gets rid of the intermediary. So like if I want to go sign a contract for a house or whatever, I'm going to need someone that manages the contract, the intermediary, be like, okay, you're going to ask one side, what do you want? Then you're going to ask the other side, what you want? And then you're going to write up the contract for both of them, and maybe they'll both be happy. But smart contracts, you don't need that. You literally just program it into the layer 2, which is why it's so useful. And Ethereum basically follows like a if this, then that structure. So like, for example, I could bet Sam. I think we talked about this in another episode. Like I could bet him like on a basketball game, and you could use like Chainlink to input real world data, and I could bet him like, oh, I bet the Boston Celtics are going to win the NBA Finals. And if it goes true and the blockchain recognizes that the Boston Celtics won, then Sam could pay me $10, or I could pay him $10, or 10 ETH, or whatever the currency is for the program. And then there's Also, I loved the YouTube video that I watched. It was MIT courseware. This just a great resource if you're on YouTube at all. There's so many, like there's a broad spectrum of topics that you can learn on there. But it was just a specific episode. It was the 6th episode. Gary Gensler, he taught a blockchain's basic class at MIT, and it's called Smart Contracts and DApps, basically decentralized applications. If you look that up on YouTube and watch it, it's like an hour-long YouTube video. It's so worth the time. He has like a guest on there from Harvard who talks about like law and contracts. It's such a cool episode, and I learned so much just from that episode. So definitely watch that.
Yeah, the MIT courseware YouTube channel is just full of so much information that you're getting for free from an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, and then just to clarify, like as far as like why do we want to move from contract, like regular contracts to smart contracts? There's a few things that are on like that Ethereum.org they like emphasize. One is auto execution, so there's no like if you can't back out of the contract. Once it's programmed and it's in the blockchain, it's automatically executed if it takes place. And then there's predictable outcomes, which obviously if you program something and you say if this happens then this happens, there's no like if you're a human, there's a lot of things that can change. If something changes in the program that it can't read that's true, then the contract just goes away. So it's not like there's not going to be a lot of confusion. And then also there's public records of all these contracts, which I think is something that's going to change like everything as far as like manipulation and like copying things and like fake documents and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a huge thing in blockchain, which is going to help. And then obviously privacy and protection, which we talked about in like the crypto episode, just basic blockchain technology, like keeping it secure.
And you see that public records aspect with even just personal wallets. I mean, you see all sorts of influencers and any people getting caught because people are always watching wallets. Like just, I think it was a week or two ago, the former OpenSea, I think, I don't remember what position he was, but he was pretty high up and he was trading NFTs before they got listed on the homepage. The reason he got caught is because someone he had a CryptoPunk as his profile picture, and someone saw that he was sending money from another wallet to that wallet after he had been buying these NFTs, and that's how they caught him. And they just posted on Twitter, and then 6 months later he's in jail for it.
Yeah,
or could be in jail.
Pretty sure that scam was like worth like double-digit millions of dollars. I'm pretty sure it was like $50 million or something like that.
I think it was only like 65,000.
Oh really?
I heard that on a podcast.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at something else.
Yeah, that would be some pretty extensive NFT trading.
But yeah, and then obviously smart contracts, they're super useful. Did we talk about any use cases yet? I guess we talked about like betting or whatnot, but like in the real world, like obviously you can do like smart contracts with like insurance or cars, or like if you bets or whatnot. I mean, these opportunities are literally endless as far as like what you can use them for. And I'm excited to see like when companies actually start using them, and like if I can go to like my like insurance company and like they program a smart contract for me on Ethereum, that would be sick.
Yeah, Visa has Visa's just, it's incredible how like up to date they are with they're like keeping up with all this, and they have their own crypto team, but they've actually been developing their own smart contracts for like the past year, just testing things out with them. So that'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And then also I have another analogy here, or picture. Okay, instead of a tree diagram, let's just imagine a vending machine. If you're confused on what smart contracts are, basically you go to the vending machine, mm-hmm. and you're like, oh, what am I looking at? I'm looking at a Lay's. I want some Lay's potato chips. Okay. Let me take that back. I'm gonna do some Fritos.
Some peanut M&Ms.
Okay, peanut M&Ms. I'm gonna get some Fritos. You go to the vending machine and you see, and then you figure out what section the Fritos are, and you know that if you press E7, that's gonna drop you some Fritos. And the vending machine, when you give it the money, or like if you write a contract up and says that if you press E7 and give it $1, then the Fritos are gonna drop out. And that's exactly how smart contracts work, but it's in a super similar scenario. And I saw that online. I think it was super cool. Like if you think literally vending machines are smart contracts because they have a bunch of food in there. Obviously people like store this vending machines. We don't have to talk about that. But we don't have to talk about how the food get in there and how the vending machines actually run. But if you just think about like the concept of you trading, like it's programmed that if you give it $1 and you press what it wants, then it's going to give you that. And there's no way to get around that. You can't like hack the vending machine, or obviously you could break the vending machine. Like I said, it's an analogy, so it's not super serious.
Unfortunately, there are other chains trying to do the same thing as Ethereum.
Yeah. And
not just a few. Like obviously, there's a lot, and you see some of them come and go. I mean, there's a lot of coins that have just absolutely disappeared off the face of the earth in the past 5 years. But I mean, even now, Solana, Avalanche, Binance has like 63% market share of the entire world, which is crazy because they're just so popular outside the U.S.
Their CEO is super smart. Mm-hmm. He's such an intelligent guy.
He's wanted in like every country.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. For what? Like just laundering or something?
I don't even know. All the all the fraudy stuff that goes on.
Dang, I didn't know that.
He's wanted in quite a few countries.
Okay. Never mind. I shouldn't endorse him then.
The U.S. hates Binance because of how shady. They don't even recognize how much like market share they have. Like when they list, they only list Binance US. They don't even list the real Binance.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah. I knew that, but I didn't know that was the reason why. Because they hate it.
Well, not like on the App Store. Like when they list, I think it was like transaction volumes, like FTX, Coinbase, and then like Binance US is like fifth.
Yeah.
Because they don't account for anything else.
I mean, it's kind of good though if you're investing in BNB. Like everyone's downplaying their token and their coin, but if they're used a lot more than people said they are, then it could be undervalued.
Yeah, I was listening to this one podcast. They said in like South America, it's all anyone uses.
Really?
Which is, I mean, it's crazy. I don't really know like the story behind that, but
there's a lot of people in South America too. There's Brazil. That whole place is crazy. The western side of the world is just growing.
Yeah, whoever takes all the market share in Asia is gonna win. So.
For sure.
2.4 billion people in 2 countries.
Yeah, India and China alone.
And Indonesia.
Oh yeah. But also like this is something like to consider like if you are investing in crypto, like you got to be looking at these other projects that are like jumping into smart contracts and NFTs and whatnot, because you never know if another company like takes over and like makes this advancement, like the merge is about to happen. Like Solana, maybe they change something and they become a lot more secure. Then you gotta look at that. If their community does that, then you gotta pay attention to that. Or Ethereum could get shot in the hole.
Yeah, and especially with Solana, they came out of nowhere. They were like getting money from VCs. What was it, like 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, it was pretty recent.
And then within like 8 months, they just exploded.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, now they have like they have outages all the time, but they still say they're in like a beta. So
yeah, they just went down a few months ago or a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's the thing. Like it's so early right now. Like Solana, like people are just like there's so much hate right now because like if it's so big and like it's so talked about, like if one thing goes bad, they just make it seem like it's this big deal. Like, oh, Solana went down for 24 hours. This is never going to be the future. But like 2 years from now, who knows how different of like a world or how different of a protocol they'll be. And like you always got to just pay attention. And it's good that we're early.
Yeah, and that's like another case of everyone just wants to pump their own coin, right? So if someone's like all their bags are in Ethereum and they see Solana goes out one day, they're just going to bash it. Because at the end of the day, they're really only worried about their own bags, right? So you just got to be careful of that. And I mean, another competitor, if you want to call them that, I'm sorry, I really like to just bash Cardano. They've been trying to develop smart contracts for years now. I think they are like finally, you are finally able to launch smart contracts on their chain, but they have like no users anymore. So
yeah. I really am a fan of just like obviously I'm a fan of Ethereum number one, obviously, but Chainlink and like Near Protocol, how they're like incorporating like real life like statistics into smart contracts, which I think is gonna like merge the systems together.
I really like Near Protocol.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Avalanche is cool too. I mean, obviously, there's not like too much that separates it, but just the fact that they have like there's the sub chains, and then there's so many DeFi protocols that are on Avalanche that are just so crazy.
Yeah.
And actually, like recent news, Bored Ape Yacht Club. So when they did their other side sale, they said they want to create their own chain, and so right now Avalanche is another chain that wants them to launch on. They want Ape chain, I guess they'll call it. They want it to launch on their chain as like a layer 2.
On Avalanche?
Yeah.
Dang.
So we'll see which one they choose.
That's crazy they chose Avalanche.
Well, they haven't chose anyone.
Oh.
But Avalanche wants them to launch
on
on
okay, I see
on
what
their
you're
chain.
saying. I wouldn't be surprised if they chose Ethereum, but
yeah,
that's what everyone goes with right now, especially what's coming up. Why is everyone choosing Ethereum?
That's a good question. What is coming up?
The merge.
Okay.
Right now, well, obviously it was literally like scheduled like months and months ago, but right now it's scheduled.
Years ago.
We're just saying right now it's scheduled for fall 22. This is probably fake information and it's probably going to change, so don't quote us on this. But they're basically just like merging with the Beacon chain, and they're switching to proof of stake. And why is it? You want to say why it's so important?
Yeah. So currently Ethereum is proof of work, which just means all the coins are being mined, and once it switches to proof of stake, it'll become deflationary, right? And not just like deflationary. Like compared to what it is now, I think it's like 99% of the issued coins. It's gonna be it's gonna be 99% less issued or something like that. It's gonna become very deflationary very quickly, which is obviously simple economics is a good thing.
Yes.
Which is why a lot of people are excited.
If it happens.
Yeah.
We still don't know. And a lot of people, like, they have the problems with proof of work. And they say, like, with the environment, how it, like, takes too much energy. I say it in quotes, and I have it in quotes on the slide, because a lot of people argue that it's Bitcoin and proof of work is actually good because it uses unused energy. Which is, I mean, if you listen to podcasts or just do your own research on it, it's kind of interesting how people, they're like, okay, Bitcoin proof of work system is actually helping the energy system by using more energy that isn't used in other ways. So that's why I say that. But they're switching to proof of stake, which is like, I feel like it's going to be a lot more like accepted as like overall people, because they're going to see proof of stake and they'll be like, okay, this isn't using energy. This is all like in the protocol. It's not affecting anything else outside of the protocol. So maybe a lot more people might be open to Ethereum over Bitcoin if they move to proof of stake.
Yeah, and to be honest, they were saying the merge was going to happen like Q2 this year, which is a month ago. So like half the things everyone was saying about all the benefits of the merge, I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it came this year, it'd be nice.
I'm
not even like.
I did pre-order Vitalik Buterin. He's dropping a book.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's scheduled to drop in September. I already pre-ordered it on Amazon. It was like $12. It was like stupid cheap. I was so surprised. I thought he would have like marked it up like $40 or whatever. But no, I pre-ordered it, and if you guys want to check it out, make sure you guys pre-order it. But yeah, make sure you guys just do your own research too, because Ethereum.org, it's literally their website, and they have so much, like, they have a learn tab. It's like the second tab from the left, and you there's a bunch of tabs that you can just read through if you're interested on diving in and doing more research. And then obviously Vitalik blogs. You're a big fan of his, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I read most of them. They can get like pretty complex. So, but I mean, in most of them, he has like some pretty, like, at least the beginning of it is pretty understandable. But then sometimes I just have to stop reading pretty quickly, because I just don't even try to understand some of that stuff.
And then obviously YouTube is a great source. I don't mean to like shout out another YouTube. Obviously, after you watch all the ASAP Finance's YouTube, check out White Boy Crypto. They're super like interesting. As far as like new, it's super simple. Like they have like animations and everything. It's like 10-minute video, and it'll explain like Ethereum or explain something else. It's so simple. So maybe start with those, and then once you understand like simple terms like sharding or rollups, then go to the blogs, and you can really read in depth and like understand his train of thought a lot better.
Well, I hope you guys learned a good bit on Ethereum. Check out any of our other podcasts. We have episodes about crypto, NFTs, and all sorts of other stuff. None of this in this episode was financial advice, and we may have positions in any of the tokens we discussed.
We definitely may.
So we will catch you in the next episode.
Thanks for watching.